squaring the binomial. So this is all about pattern work with the binomials. Squaring the binomial means that if I have a binomial that looks like a plus b, and it tells me to square the binomial, if it fits this pattern, a binomial times itself you identify what's in the A spot and you square it. You identify what's in the B spot and you're going to square that. The middle term is where kids get a little confused. But if there is a plus there, that means that the middle term here is always going to be positive. And it means I'm going to times the A and the B and double it. And that's the pattern I'm going to fulfill. X plus 4 squared is an example of squaring the binomial. I have a binomial and I'm going to square it. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to identify what's in the A spot. Here's my A. What down here is in the A spot? X. What's in the B spot? 4. Now, taking that information, I'm going to fill the pattern. I am going to square my A times the A and the B to each other and double it, and then square the B. So plug in. The A is X, so I'm going to plug in the A back into the pattern, and I'm going to plug my B back in. So my final answer is A squared is the X squared. The B squared is positive 16. That's basically your F and your L. It's your first and your last. So to do the OI in the middle, I take my X times 4, which gives me 4X, and I double it, and I get 8X. And that's your final answer. I squared my binomial. FOIL and distributing works, but eventually you see this pattern, you're able to get it in your head. Why? Why is it mental math? Because look, if I square my A, I get X squared. If I square the 4, I get 16. If I times them together and double it, I get 8X. And I get my answer that much faster. Example. X plus 6 squared. The A is X and the B is 6. Square the A and we get X squared. Square the B and we get 36. Times them together, we get 6X. And when we double it, we get 12X. Do you see how it's just pattern work? Okay, so without having to plug anything in, this is squaring the binomial times itself. What's the final answer? Cammy. What'd you get? And that's the answer. Questions so far? Okay, I'm gonna throw a little harder one at you. You should agree that this is a squaring the binomial and that you still can get your answer the exact same way that Cammie just told us that. But I know I need to show why the answer is. First of all, who can tell me what the answer is without me having to explain? It's a challenging one. It's different, right? It's going to take you back to some exponent rules. What's in the A spot? 2x. What's in the B spot? 3y. So when you plug in, you guys, this is actually in parentheses. And so it goes back to some exponent rules that you need to follow. When I plug in that 2x, what's 2x raised to the second? It means 2x times 2x, which is 4x squared. And when I plug in the 3y down there, 3y squared is 3y times 3y, which is 9y squared. And in the middle, 2x, 3y. 2x times 3y is 6xy, and then double it, 12xy. Okay, so there was a certain thing that happened there. That is, if it starts with a plus in the middle, that means the middle term always ends up being a plus. So what do you think is going to happen if I put a minus in the middle? It means that it's the exact same rule, but the only difference will be the minus in the middle. The middle term will then be a negative. The first and last will always be positive. The middle is the only one that's ever going to be negative now. So hopefully you see the mental math of it. A squared is x squared. B squared is nothing's negative, because it's still your A is x and your B is 3. That minus only has to do with that middle term right there, and you got to follow that pattern. Plus, if it even was, it's negative 3 times negative 3, which still gives you that positive 9 at the end. So in the middle, times these and double it. 3x doubled is 6x. You do Answer, raise your hand. I always hear from Cammie. Zip. Awesome. Shortcut. Can you FOIL it? Yes. Look at, you can do x minus 8 times x minus 8. It's the same exact thing. You can do first, outer, inner, last. You can distribute. You can do whatever you want to get the same thing. But if it looks like this and it follows that pattern, it's mental math. Okay? You get me? Okay, one more rule. And then it's called sum and difference. The rule. Again, it's only if it looks like this. If I'm going to multiply two binomials and the numbers in the A spot and the numbers in the B spot are the same, but one's a plus and one's a minus, what this means is that I don't have to do all of FOIL. I only have to do the full. The full. The F and the L, the first and the last. However, it's important to know that it has to be a sum and it has to be a difference. Because you're basically, if you were to FOIL it, your middle terms are going to cancel out. X plus 4, x minus 4. That's an example of it fitting the pattern. I have an x in the A spot, and I have a 4 in the B spot. One's positive, one's negative. Off to the side. If I was to FOIL that, first, outer, inner, last. My first would be x squared. My outside would be negative 4x. The inside would be positive 4x. And the last, positive 4 and negative 4, would be negative 16. And every time binomials fit this pattern, negative 4x and positive 4x, that middle oi is always going to cancel. So why FOIL the whole thing if it fits the pattern? When all I have to do is square my first and do my last. And that's the answer. So it's actually pretty sweet. Does that fit the pattern? Yep. So if it fits the pattern, it's x times x is x squared, negative 7 and positive 7. Didn't mean to write that. Is minus 49. X squared minus 49 is the answer. Does that fit the pattern? Yes, my A's are the same, my B's are the same, and one's a minus and one's a plus. So what's 3x times 3x? Multiply. 9x squared. And what's a negative 1 and a positive 1? Negative 1. Okay, I'm going to show you what kids want to then do. Here's this example. They get x plus 5 times x plus 5, and they tell me the answer is x squared plus 25. Is that correct? That is not correct. Why? Right, that's x plus 5, and this is x plus 5. So this is not a sum and difference. What is this? It is squaring the binomial. You would actual FOIL this completely, or you would do the shortcut. So this is an example that you would FOIL or square the binomial shortcut. Don't do first and last for every single problem you come across, please. Okay?